So, hello and welcome. What are you doing to our very
I
first?
was about to give you a kiss. I didn't realize we're going to go straight into it.
That's going to go into the blooper reel. Okay, get it out of your system. All right. Hello and welcome to our very first Tarot Talks, where we let tarot do the talking.
Woo!
Just kidding, I came up with that right now. So,
that was really good.
But so Aussie, who is my forever guinea pig, is here to be in the first installment of
Very happy to be as well.
Yeah, this tarot talk. The only time I've done it before was when I did it with myself. So this will be my first tarot talk interview.
Aww.
So before we started recording, I had Aussie pick out which decks we were going to be using. So I have Psychic Tarot for the heart. We have numerology guidance cards.
Yay.
We have Angels and Ancestors Oracle.
I love that one.
And then we have the archetype cards.
Woohoo.
So I was feeling like I'm going to draw one of each of the oracle cards first, and then we'll see what comes up. Today's, many things. Okay, let's just do one though. I'm gonna put these back.
Okay,
let's just get one. Okay. And so today's theme is
my healing journey.
Yay. So we're gonna talk about your healing journey.
You know, for a second there I wanted to change my theme.
I mean, you're welcome to do whatever you want.
Well, I was like, look, the Warriors are in the finals, and I'd like to know how they're gonna do in this.
No.
Are they gonna be champions again?
Is this gonna be the last time you're invited on this show?
I just had that thought. All right, I guess we're not talking about the Warriors, but go Warriors. Oh, there's one.
2 came out.
2.
So
interesting. Whoa, this is crazy.
Okay, so we got the rescuer, and then we got the victim, and then let's pull angels and ancestors. And
we're still doing one card per deck, or as many as they'll come out.
Yeah, 4 was too many last time, but those 2 wanted to come out, so
interesting.
We'll use those. So this will just get us started, but then we'll use the tarot as we go. So I'm gonna pick this one. Got the eagle, see from a higher perspective. And then last, we're gonna get the, I'm gonna just take this top one because that was like 4 of them that also came out. And this one is adventure.
55.
Yeah. So let's start with the rescuer and the victim. We have the rescuer. The light attributes: provide strength and support to others in crisis, acts out of love with no expectation of reward. And the shadow attributes: assumes that the rescued will reciprocate, keeps the rescued one needy. And victim.
No, you're reading this right side up, huh?
Yes. I'm reading it right side up, but we're actually going to be looking at both.
Both? Okay.
So the victim light attribute prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. And the shadow attributes: playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, inability to maintain personal boundaries. So I feel like we're going to start with these 2. And so I would like to hear your thoughts on,
My thoughts?
well, you're the one being interviewed now, aren't you?
Okay.
I am just the reader here. This
Okay.
is about you and your journey, not mine.
I didn't know that I could talk. Okay, sure. I mean, I was going to just listen, but yeah, I can contribute. I mean, I know my journey best. So
I would think, I would think so. I would hope you don't have other people tell your story. So yes, I would love to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
Growing up,
Yeah.
I would love to hear your thoughts on this idea of doing acts of kindness, or
I was definitely a rescuer.
as this says, providing strength and support to others in crisis, but assuming that others will reciprocate, and how, like,
Well, I know for a fact I play the role of the rescuer. Well, let's go back. Growing up, I was the rescuer, as in stepping in for my adult parents that were just too overwhelmed with whatever was going on in their world. And so I had to step into the adult role and take care of my sibling, my younger brothers, and even at times be there for my mom. So I definitely was a rescuer from, like, trained from an early age. And then when I got into my adult relationships, when I started to do the work, I realized that in that role, I was definitely the rescuer and they were the runner. So I'm very familiar with that. In terms of the attributes, I want to say I never expect anything back as like a reward back in, because I think I was trained from an early on to just give. But I have to, realize also at times when I'm feeling frustrated or, someone as a recovering codependent, that is definitely, you're doing, you're sacrificing yourself, but at the same time, you don't even realize what you're doing to yourself is that you are, frustrated with other people. You were like, why me? Why do I always? But you don't express that. You just keep it all in. And so you're just doing that to yourself. You're abandoning yourself every time you say yes when you should have said no. So
yeah. And I would say kind of comparing this idea of the victim and the rescuer, the shadow attributes being playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, inability to maintain personal boundaries. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this as well growing up.
Well, definitely inability to maintain personal boundaries still is my biggest challenge. And I know I worked through that in a real life scenario. And I think that was my first time stepping up for myself and saying, no, you've just trampled over my boundaries and that's not okay. And that took me 42 years to do. So, and it's definitely something I have to work on constantly in every moment. And playing the victim for positive feedback, I certainly may not have known that I was doing it. I know that I've been in victim mode not for positive feedback, but probably for rest.
What do you mean by that?
where I'm not being the rescuer all the time. Like when I'm victim, when I'm playing the victim role, I'm getting to take a little break from having to solve issues, having to solve problems, having to be on it all the time. That's what I feel. I know most recently when I've done the work.
Giving and receiving.
Yeah.
Is what came up.
Wow.
So do you feel like that has to do with, so kind of moving from that shadow towards that light, which is preventing you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others, and then talking about having a break from being a rescuer when you're the victim? Like, how can you can you tell us more about your journey of learning boundaries in terms of balance within giving and receiving?
That is definitely was a milestone in my healing journey, was me realizing that I am good at giving, it comes naturally, but I'm not good at receiving. And it can be as simple as compliments, to, you know, and feeling guilty when somebody does give in time of your need, but you're always feeling like, oh man, I owe them so much. Like, it's very disproportionate of the amount that this person has done for you, and you're like, well, I owe them huge amount of
and so do you feel like you've kind of overcome that, or is that something you're still trying to figure out?
I think I am more aware of it. And I think I'm doing better in terms, same as setting my boundaries. I think that's where I'm at with both of them, is knowing that, oh yes, I can actually receive compliments. I can say no to things and not feel guilty. I can receive without be expected to give back. Because that's what friendships are, right? I mean, that's what good friends do I mean, I do that for my friends, but why do I expect myself to you know, give back just because they've given something to me? So
because the shadow aspect of the rescuer is assuming that the rescued will reciprocate. And so what do you think about that?
I mean,
that
connection is probably subconscious then, because I know that being trained from a young age to be the giver, not, you know, definitely my friends are so important to me, and when they're in need, I'm always like, well, let's not say always, as best I can be, I'm there to support them. I'm only recently learning how to go, wait, I can't be there for them right now because I don't have any way to be there for myself.
Right.
So, and I feel like I'm doing better at that. I feel like I'm managing my own needs versus someone else's needs, and I'm pretty proud of myself in that regard, actually, because it was a big one.
And so how do you feel that perhaps seeing things from a higher perspective have helped you along in that journey? And how did you even get to that point of being able to see from a higher perspective?
Yeah, I think it's my spirit. I thank my spiritual practice and journey to be able to see from a higher perspective. I always try and do that whenever I'm in, you know, trouble, so to speak, when I'm struggling with something and I feel a certain way about it, and I know that that's not how Source would feel, or Source would see the situation. I try and see that higher perspective, but it is again a constant conscious effort to try and see that in any challenge that you're experiencing, especially in the challenges, right? It's harder to see that higher perspective. So, but I know that I've gotten there, as in work through my knots, work through my wounds, if I can see that higher perspective, if I'm at peace with the situation.
Uh, how might one be able to decipher when they're seeing from a higher perspective or not?
That's a good one. The way I look at it is, if my emotional scale is my guidance system. So when I'm at peace, when I'm in, love, satisfaction, those good feelings are my indication that, hey, I'm in alignment. I'm within the flow of life. When I'm upset, when I'm angry, when I'm sad, hurt, those are not bad, but those feelings are an indication that there is something for me to gain and learn and grasp that I haven't gotten yet. So that tells me when I'm not seeing from a higher perspective, when I'm in those more of they're not negative, but they are what society considers negative, but they have so much to teach and tell me. When you sit with those feelings and you allow them to be there and not go, I don't want to be angry, or I don't want to be mad, but sit with those, invite them in and listen and be uncomfortable in those feelings and listen. It has very big messages for you that you maybe haven't heard. You choose to ignore, you've chosen to numb because you don't want to look at it. So those, I've gotten so much meaning and solutions from those feelings. But that's how I will be able to tell if I'm seeing it from a higher perspective or not.
And I pulled the Daydreams and Decisions, which is kind of the equivalent of the Seven of Cups. So again, this is kind of a card of deciphering, making the decisions. And so how do you feel like meditation and going within has aided you in this process of seeing things from a higher perspective?
Meditation and going within has been my cornerstone in being able to see from a higher perspective, being able to quiet the egoic mind, being able to, even sit with those unwanted feelings. That I can't, I think it's like meditation is a doorway for me to connect with my higher self and connect with source. And it is there for me all the time. It works every time. It's helps me stay in alignment. It helps me stay balanced. It helps me know when to ask.
Would you say it's like it's opening a doorway to clarity?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. I would say a clarity with a capital C, and not an egoic view of, you get clear on something, but it's not like, oh, this person, it's their fault, and if they hadn't done that, then I wouldn't feel this way, or if they hadn't done that, this wouldn't have happened. It's clarity from a higher perspective.
You can drink your water. I have to say, this is really interesting to see how these cards come out, don't you think?
It is so interesting. The rescuer, the victim, there was so much there, and then the giving and the receiving. Even there.
And I feel like, so how can you tie in like your childhood and growing up with your sense of adventure, which is what we got here?
Yeah.
Your Aussie has FOMO.
Yes. I have always I've always had a sense of adventure since I was little, and growing up in a Burma, third world country, where there are no proper traffic rules and regulations. My dad would ride his motorbike, and I would sit in front of him, holding the handlebars, just like I was like riding the bike. I like without, a helmet or anything to strap me in. So yeah, it was normal in that culture, and I've always had that sense of adventure, and I think I got it from my dad. He's more adventurous and always wanting to, see the world and all of that, and that's why I grew up in Australia. But yeah, I think it was always in me.
Yeah, so then we got
that's beautiful.
observe. Got your rainbows going on there.
For pride. Yes. Happy pride.
And so, I mean, it's funny that you just spoke of your sense of adventure and your dad, because this really gives me a sense of, developing as a person now and into an adult based on what you literally observed growing up as a child. And yeah, so how that has even what came to mind was like how that even connected to your gayness.
I was, as you were talking there, I was thinking, observing my dad or, the adults in my life growing up, and having that sense of adventure. I think I also what came to mind was like, I saw what I wanted to be and what I didn't want to be. Through, my parents' relationship, which isn't the best and healthiest. So I still remember like thinking as a young child, I would never raise, if I was to have a kid, I would never raise my kid like they're raising me, was my thought.
Yeah.
So and not to blame and not to feel like I am a victim of that, but I did have to work through that, and I did have to consciously realize the connections with the actions and things that were happening in my adult relationships with what happened in my childhood. So it's a big thing. I am still doing the healing work, but yes, there is also, light in that, because I got to see and see and experience what I didn't want. So I think that is just as important as, knowing what you want and what you want to create in this world. So I love that. I love the rainbow. I love that there's, can I pick it up?
Yeah.
I love that there is the 4 corners and the 4 different colors, and the sky and the rainbow. It just kind of tells me, well, it feels to me like the elements, the fire, the air, the earth, and the water elements.
The earrings.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't even see the earrings. You're right. I didn't. Well, you know how observant I am. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, and the card is observe.
Yes. I am terrible. I cannot see things this right in front of me, but
you have the luxury of having the cards right in front of you. Everyone else is gonna have to look at them on the screen.
I know. Look at the earrings of the people that are wearing them. So is that like water? Is that like the star, or
I would assume that's more like air.
And then that's like earth.
Well, it actually seems more
fire.
like the seasons in a way, like spring, summer, fall, and winter.
Oh, it is the
But
seasons.
I don't think it really,
yeah, look, it is the seasons.
However.
Yes. Seasons of your life. Look at that.
Yeah.
And I know there's definitely, I have definitely seen partitions of my life where it's like definitely season 1, season 2, season 3. I'm grateful to say that I am in the start of the next season of my life.
Mm-hmm. And so this is Master.
Mm-hmm.
And this definitely gives that sense of like, it's interesting because it's a blend of the heart being caged in, but then also realizing that the light and the energy from the heart space can extend
beyond,
regardless of like being
whether
in
it's
the I
cage.
guess in this it kind of looks like prison of the body. It's really interesting that these are these major arcana cards. These mean that they're more like significant within your life. I actually I haven't done this in a while, so I need to remember which major arcana all of these correspond to, which I think it might be the devil card actually. If I'm not mistaken.
This card, the Master card?
The number 15.
Oh, the number 15.
So yeah,
right.
so the devil card, right?
Wow.
So with the devil, I guess I was interpreting it in a different way, but with that same concept in mind, as even though the heart in this image visibly looks like it's in a prison or a cage, the light can shine far past that. So it's in a sense, it's almost like an illusion, thinking that the heart is contained, but the ability for its light to shine to the entire universe is never contained.
Yeah, it's boundless.
And so I'm curious here to see, as you are now well into your adulthood, what that looks like for you, as far as in what ways might you feel like you've been containing your light, minimizing your impact in the world?
Big time. I have been doing that all my life. I have this memory of so I played basketball when I was younger, and I was a very good basketball player, and I knew that I was the best player on the team. And there was we were training one day, and one of my team members brought her friend to join the team and try out, and it was a new person. And I remember during a game, like me and her went for the ball, and we were going to do a jump ball, and she was taller than me, but I knew I could jump higher than her, but I chose to jump not as high so that she would get the ball, just so she felt like she wasn't bad. So I definitely dimmed my light. And that's just one example. And I've been doing it throughout my adult life as well, and in the professional world too.
And perhaps this rescuer was showing up in that moment, where it's almost like you're taking it upon yourself to be the one to take care of her comfort and feeling accepted, and all of the
exactly
things.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And when you do that, when you think you're helping someone by doing that, you're actually not, because what you're subconsciously saying is that person, and I'm only a kid then, but I'm realizing when I do these things, I am not allowing their light to shine. I'm not allowing them to discover their strengths and discover what they want. So me dimming my light doesn't help other people. It actually disempowers them, you know?
Right. And here, the second part of the shadow attribute is keeps the rescued one needy. So to me, I get
Yes.
enabler vibes from that in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because yeah, you want to feel needed. You want to feel like you're always going to be there for somebody, and you can always, you know, jump in and be the hero of the day, whatever the phrase is. But yeah.
And so I guess in order to kind of wrap this up, I had the intention behind this card, which is like the 5 of Cups, change your focus. So this actually has to do with advice, right? Advice for those who may reflect on their experiences and resonate or relate to being that victim or that rescuer. And I would love to hear you talk about your experience with shifting your focus from one that is constantly looking at the fallen cups, or as you can see in this image, it's a very narrow view. You can see everything around the edges is kind of like blurred out. And so this shows that her vision is just very like narrow. But in the background, you have all of these birds flying, these trees, a lot of symbols relating to like growth, freedom, not having boundaries. And so how can you give advice as far as taking those blinders off and appreciating everything around and appreciating the opportunities when we may get stuck on that narrow.
When you're like, I think of it like you're in the weeds, right? When you're doing and being in the detail and the granularity of things, you forget to look up and you forget to see the 30,000 feet view, that higher perspective that we're talking about earlier. So I think for me, what helps is to pause and, you know, do my spiritual practices, meditation, prayer, gratitude, you know, journaling. I don't personally do journaling, but you can, there's different forms of it. Is to really bring forth what you're grateful for, because gratitude opens a doorway for you to appreciate, not just appreciate, but also see a wider view instead of just what's in front of you, the challenge or the thing that you're trying to overcome. So I pausing, connecting with source in meditative state, prayer, gratitude really helps me see a bigger view.
And so to kind of end this tarot talk, which
this
was really cool, huh?
This was like, it went by real quick, and the cards that came out were so relevant.
Right.
I mean, it was obviously of course it's relevant. I forget sometimes that she's like, you know, channeling, and you're like, you're the connector between my guides and your guides. So it's pretty cool.
So this is what the card looks like. This is from the universe, has your back, and it says, instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good for all.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And I think I want to add that. I want to add that to this thing here of changing your focus, is that gratitude again, when you're not just in your problems and your issues and just trying to, you know, get through the day with your stuff. If you can appreciate, and if you are always doing because you want the best for everyone, for everyone's good, there is no you can't go wrong with that, right? You can't you can't
And
go
I
wrong with that.
think what I also get from that is a lot of times we don't always know what the best outcome is, right?
Or
And
what's best for
so
us.
assuming that we know what is going to be best, what does that even mean, right? So that's
We have our little human brains.
yeah. So when rather than pray for an outcome that you don't even know whether that's the best thing for you or anybody, by praying for the highest good of all, then you leave yourself open to the infinite possibilities, infinite abundance, and you're going to remove those blinders and you're going to take it off because now you're just like open,
you're open
to anything.
To anything that's the best for everybody involved.
Cool. Well, that was fun.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was gonna like, what this was about.
I didn't either. And that's the fun part about this too, is we get to live our sense of adventure.
Yeah.
Because I'm coming in this without, you know, Alyssa questions or like, let me research you. I mean, this is a different situation because obviously we live together.
Yeah. And we've been together.
But I mean, at the end of the day, this really isn't about me and what I have to say. I just think that where I can add some things here and there, sure, but I wanted it to be led by the cards and kind of
by source.
Let those questions come out naturally and organically. And I think it was really cool how this ended up playing out.
Really cool.
I'll be better prepared next time. Thank you for being my guinea pig.
I love it. I hope I can come back.
Oh, sure.
I want to do more of these.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was a really fun way to have a conversation. So thank you all for watching. Bye.